Hi Libras and welcome. This is your general horoscope for the month of October 2017 and happy birthday to you Libras. I am using today, or at least during this time, the Golden Tarot deck. I'm just giving my other ones a rest at this time, and I did pre-shuffle. This one is a little bit harder to shuffle because it's a bit bigger, the deck. But I did pre-shuffle, and I did that because I'm a little bit clumsy and it does take me some time. I kind of get into the shuffling, and so it's kind of meditative. And so I did lay out your spread, and so let's just get started with you. Another thing I just want to add, this doesn't necessarily mean that this, first card is the first part of the month, last card is the ending of the month. I usually relate it that way, but energy does flow, so it can happen anytime during the month. And another thing to add is the energies can bleed in from 2 weeks of the prior month and spill into 2 weeks to the next month. So just want to get that cleared up. So let's get started with you. We start off with the Hermit card. Now this is a card of isolation, not necessarily loneliness, probably a spiritual path that you're taking, but it is about isolation. That's what it's all about. Doesn't mean that you don't have a life. You can have a life even though you seclude yourself or put yourself in isolation, and but it's all about gaining wisdom or gaining knowledge of yourself. It's seeking something, and it's usually on a spiritual realm or a spiritual path that you're taking, but it is a card of isolation. Doesn't necessarily mean you're alone too. Sometimes you can have help during this time, even though you put yourself through isolation. There is a light guiding you, and it might be your inner self, or it could be that of somebody else helping you out there. So just be mindful of that. It is a major arcana. Do you have any others? You have 3 major arcanas here. Not too bad. The universe is kind of tapping you on the shoulder and telling you, hey, you need to pay attention to something. It's not, at least it's not screaming it out to you. Next card we have is the Five of Swords. Now this one, fives, let me see, shows the completion, no, that's sevens. Instability and change, so leaving a rut that you're stuck in. So this is a card of change. Basically on the traditional tarot decks, I think it is a few men, and it looks like there is a winner. And but this is saying that a battle has ended, but there is no winners, there is no losers, but it is a card of change. So you might have a bit of a conflict, and this is with the sword, so it's a little bit more serious than with the wands. The wands is a little bit different, but this is a little bit more serious, and it could be a conflict regarding let me see, the way of thinking, or how you communicate to somebody else, or just a communication with somebody else. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. I don't have a very sturdy table. It's just a card table, and I gotta be mindful of that. But yeah, so you're gonna run into, or you could run into the energy. Say you could be running into a bit of a conflict. Could be a little serious, but yeah, usually how it starts is, and it's usually either some kind of miscommunication or some kind of communication, the way you communicate or how somebody else communicates to you, or maybe it's the way you're thinking. Maybe you're not on the right track, or somebody else is not on the right track with you. So just be mindful of that with some kind of conflict coming on. But like I said, there is no winners, there is no losers on top of that. Okay. Next card we have is the Seven of Cups. Now this could be, these usually represents your desires. And this is a card of choice and having to make a choice with something, and it could be maybe choosing and picking a desire you want to fulfill or complete, or a goal that you have. And then again, it could just be many invitations coming to you, and you have to pick and choose which one to make, or which choice to make, or which choice to choose. So this is just basically a card about choosing something. Okay, and it could be an emotional choice. Most choices are usually it's usually a feeling, but it could be an emotional choice. And usually desires come from feelings, and how you're feeling. And then sevens, that's which I confused the 5 with, shows the completion of a cycle and can bring changes. So another change card. Okay, so be mindful of that. Next we have is the Ten of Wands. Now this one, let me think here. Tens is a card of, or a number of completion, so completing a cycle. And usually with the traditional tarot decks, it's a guy carrying a bunch of wands on his back. So it's usually regards to burdens, and so many burdens that you've been carrying, but it's a completion of it. So it's almost saying no more of that, or you're letting go of all the burdens that you've been carrying, or you've been carrying it for so damn long, or you've been carrying one by one, and you've been accumulating all these burdens on you, and you've been carrying it and hauling it a very long time. But the good thing about it is that they're not going to waste. You're gonna use those burdens as experiences, and it's gonna flourish to something new, because we're coming to an ending of something and also coming to a beginning of something else too. So it's a completion of a cycle. But yeah, burdens that you've been carrying basically for a long time, but we'll make good use of them. It'll flourish to something else, to something new. Next we have is the King of Wands. Now, a few things happening here. This is a fiery, passionate person, if it is a person involved in your life. And it's usually an experienced person, because he wouldn't be a king if he didn't experience or have the experiences that he's been through. So could be advisor that you're going to get advice from, that has a lot of experience and has a lot of passion. You trust this person because they have so much passion that you that's why you want to go to them for advice. Then again, it could be you in a leadership position, which you're very passionate about, and you finally get into a leadership position. Or it could be just be you in a very powerful, feeling quite powerful and confident of yourself, and feeling quite passionate. It's the energy of passion. A pretty fun guy, can be pretty funny, has jokes to tell, but just fiery and passionate. So that's kind of energies that you'd be probably running into. If it's not the energy, then it could be a person, or it could be you and coming from you. Next card we have is the Star card. And this is like wishing upon a star. It is saying that your wishes will be fulfilled or granted, but it might still take some time to come to life at this time. And it's also telling you, don't worry so much to go with the flow at this time. So don't focus so much on your wish, or your, having your wishes granted or fulfilled. Just go with the flow. You don't want to stop that energy from flowing, or else you'll be stuck. And so it's just saying go with the flow, let things flow. It's all about balance as well. So keeping your balance and not swaying so much to one side or swaying too much to the other side. Keep your balance on this, and this is more of your energy it's talking about. And so not saying that your wishes won't be granted, but it just still is taking a little bit more time to come to life. Last card we have is the Judgment card, and this one is just saying second chances, a rebirth. So that's all it's saying with this one. It could also be saying that people are judging you for something, or you could be judging other people for something. It could be a legitimate judgment, but basically the meat and potatoes of this is second chances and a rebirth at something. So that could happen anywhere in your life. So let's kind of recap here. Going to be going through some isolation, some downtime, alone time. Not saying you won't have a life. You still can have a life and still just keep to yourself. It could be a spiritual path that you're taking, and you're guided by this, by a light, or even by another person. And then you could be running into some conflict. Could be a little serious, but remember, there's no winners and there's no losers with this one. It could be the way you're communicating, or the way you're thinking. Okay. And then you got a 7 in here, which shows the completion of a cycle and can bring changes. But the 5s also instability and change and leaving a rut that you're stuck in. So no matter what, change is still involved here one way or another. Okay, and they could be two separate things. It could be just one thing, but I think it has to do with two separate things. It could be, it's all about making a choice on something. It could be your desires, some kind of inner feeling. That could be where the King comes in, is involved too, with passion and that fire. And or you're just having a lot of invitations coming to you, and you're trying to pick and choose which one to choose and take. And then you're completing a cycle, carrying a lot of burdens with you along the way, but you'll be, because you're completing a cycle, you'll be also starting a new beginning. So you'll be using whatever burdens you have, and you'll be actually building something from it anew. And then you could be dealing with a very passionate, fiery person who is very funny, or can be funny, very humorous. Could be going to somebody like that for advice, and you trust this person, and you just like this person because they are so likable and approachable, that they're so fiery and passionate, and you love that. It's contagious. That kind of person is contagious. And you could be going to this person for advice, or this could be you in a leadership type position, and you're quite passionate about it. Or it could just be you just feeling quite powerful and confident in yourself, and having that fiery passion about you. And then wishing upon a star, you could be getting a wish fulfilled or wish granted, but it's still taking its time to get to you, or happen, or flourish, or come to fruition, or come into existence at this time. So just a little bit more longer. Just remember, don't block it off. Go with the flow. And this is all about your energy that we're talking about. And it is all about balance. So watch your energy and your balance. Even watch your thoughts on this. So just remember to just flow. Let things flow. Go with the flow with this. And then second chances and rebirth, or there could be actually you judging somebody else, or somebody could be judging you at this time. But this is all about second chances and a rebirth. Okay? So thank you for watching. I bid you a fabulous October and a happy Halloween to you guys. And again, I wish you a happy birthday. And remember, it takes two to tarot, and I bid you aloha.